Welcome back to the channel where we talk about coins, treasures, and the hidden wealth you could be carrying around in your pocket. Rarest coins. Today's video is going to blow your mind because we're taking a close look at the 1992 P. Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks like any other coin you might get in your change. But hold on. A rare version of this quarter sold for an unbelievable $1.2 million. That's right. A coin that originally had a face value of just 25 cents turned into a seven-figure payday for one lucky collector. So what's the story behind this coin, and how could your 1992 P quarter possibly be worth that much? Let's dig in. Start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington and quickly became a mainstay of American currency. The obverse, or front side of the coin, features a profile of George Washington designed by John Flanagan. The reverse originally featured an eagle, a symbol of American strength and pride. That design continued until the State Quarters series began in 1999. Now, let's jump to the year in question, 1992. This was a transitional time in U.S. coin production. The U.S. Mint was experimenting and preparing for new series while still using old designs. In Philadelphia, where the 1992 P quarter was minted, over 500 million quarters were produced that year. That makes most 1992 P quarters extremely common and worth only face value. You can find one in your pocket change today. But as with many things in the world of coin collecting, it's the rare errors and unique minting quirks that can turn an ordinary coin into a national treasure. So what exactly makes the 1992 P quarter so valuable? The answer lies in a highly rare and specific error. A few 1992 quarters were mistakenly struck using a proof reverse die, which was only supposed to be used for specially made proof coins. Proof coins are not made for circulation. They are created with higher detail and polish for collectors. Somehow, one of those proof reverse dies was used on regular business strike quarters. This mistake created a coin that looks just a little different, but that little difference means everything. On these special 1992 P quarters, the lettering on the reverse side is sharp and squared off instead of rounded. The details on the eagle's feathers, wings, and tail are noticeably crisper. The rim and edge spacing are slightly different from normal quarters. To the untrained eye, it's hardly noticeable. But to a collector or expert, it stands out like a diamond in the rough. These types of coins are known as transitional errors or design varieties. They are extremely rare because the mistake usually gets caught early in production. But every now and then, a few slip out. One of these rare 1992 P. Washington quarters with the proof reverse die, graded in nearly perfect condition, was sold at auction for a staggering $1.2 million. Why? Because of its condition, rarity, and the fact that almost no one had seen one like it before. Let that sink in. One tiny detail on a common coin led to a sale worth more than most people make in a decade. And the craziest part? This coin was found by someone just casually going through coins at a local coin shop. It wasn't in a safe. It wasn't locked away in a vault. It was out in the wild, where anyone could have picked it up. So how can you tell if your 1992 P quarter might be worth a fortune? First, check the mint mark. You're looking for the P, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. Then, take a very close look at the reverse side of the coin. If you have a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass, use it. Look at the lettering on the word United States of America. Look at the details in the eagle's wings and feathers. If they look unusually sharp or crisp, you might have one of the rare ones. Next, check the condition of the coin. The $1 million version was in near-perfect condition. That means little to no wear, no scratches, and full detail across both sides. Coin collectors and grading services like PCGS and NGC assign grades to coins, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A coin graded MS68 or higher is exceptionally rare and can bring massive money at auction. And here's a key tip. Never clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy the value of even the rarest coin. If you think you've got something special, protect it in a coin holder and get it evaluated by a professional. Now let's talk about the larger impact. Discoveries like this fuel the passion of coin collectors all over the world. It's the thrill of the hunt. The idea that a life-changing discovery could be hiding in plain sight. A quarter you spend at a vending machine might actually be worth more than a luxury car or even a house. So don't overlook your pocket change. Always pay attention to the coins you come across, especially those from unusual years or those that look just a little different. It might take a few minutes of research, but the payoff could be huge. The story of the 1992 P. Washington Quarter is a perfect example of why coin collecting is more than a hobby. It's a journey into history, art, and sometimes incredible wealth. So whether you're a casual collector or just curious about the value of your change, keep looking. Because one day, that coin in your hand might be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We've got more incredible stories coming up about rare coins, hidden treasures, and collectibles worth a fortune. Until next time, keep hunting and happy collecting. Let me know if you want this broken into scenes, formatted for subtitles, or turned into a podcast-style script. Welcome back to the channel where we reveal the hidden stories behind everyday coins that turn out to be worth small fortunes. Rarest coins. If you've ever thought the change in your pocket couldn't possibly be worth more than a few dollars, think again. Today, we're diving into the story of the 1996 P. Washington Quarter. On the surface, it's just a typical coin you've probably used to pay for parking or grab a soda from a vending machine. But in one incredible case, this coin shocked the numismatic world when a rare variety reportedly sold for an eye-popping $1.4 million. That's right. A 25-cent piece, struck in 1996 and carrying a P mint mark, was valued at over $1 million. So what made this coin so valuable? What should you be looking for? Could one of these coins be sitting in your home right now, unnoticed, and waiting to change your life? Let's find out. To understand the significance of the 1996 P Quarter, we have to go back to the basics of the Washington Quarter series. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, it features the familiar side profile of Washington on the front and an eagle with spread wings on the back. This design remained mostly unchanged until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now let's fast forward to 1996. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 900 million Washington Quarters. These coins were standard copper-nickel-clad composition, with the P mint mark indicating their origin from the Philadelphia Mint. Because of the high mintage, most 1996 P quarters are very common and typically only worth their face value. You could find dozens in circulation today without much trouble, but not all coins from that year were created equal. Among the mass production, a few quarters left the mint with remarkable and extremely rare errors. One of these coins, a 1996 P. Washington Quarter, had a combination of features that made it a one-of-a-kind treasure. It was discovered to have been struck on a transitional planchet, meaning it was minted using the wrong type of metal blank. This created a coin that didn't match the standard composition for a 1996 quarter. It also featured a dramatic double die error, where parts of the coin's design appeared doubled, most noticeably in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." What truly set this coin apart wasn't just the error, but the condition it was found in. It was certified in mint state condition, with a nearly perfect surface and exceptional strike quality. That combination of rare metal, stunning error, and pristine condition sent collectors into a frenzy. When this coin was put up for auction, it captured massive attention from both investors and historians. By the end of the auction, the final sale price had reached an astonishing $1.4 million. So now you're probably wondering how you can tell if your 1996 P quarter is special. Here's what to look for. Start by checking the mint mark. The P, located just above the date, stands for Philadelphia. Then look very carefully at the lettering. Pay special attention to Liberty and the motto "In God We Trust." If the letters appear to have a shadow or a duplicate outline, you could be looking at a double die error. These types of errors are often subtle but extremely valuable to collectors. Next, check the overall condition of the coin. If it looks brand new, with full shine and no signs of wear or scratches, it might be considered mint state. Coins in MS65 condition or higher are already desirable. But when paired with an error, the value can increase dramatically. You should also consider weighing the coin. A typical 1996 P quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, it may have been struck on the wrong metal blank, which is another major sign of a rare transitional planchet error. If you suspect you've found something unusual, do not clean the coin. Cleaning can lower its value significantly. Instead, protect it in a safe holder and take it to a professional coin dealer or grading service. Reputable services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade your coin. A high grade with verified errors can turn an ordinary-looking quarter into a high-value collectible. So why does this matter? Why are coins like the 1996 P. Washington quarter so fascinating? Because they represent more than money. They are snapshots of American history, miniature works of art, and physical proof that even in an age of mass production, rare mistakes can slip through and become legends. When something goes wrong at the mint in just the right way, it creates something totally unique. And collectors are willing to pay top dollar to own that piece of history. The story of the 1996 P quarter isn't just about a coin. It's about the thrill of discovery. The idea that a life-changing treasure could be hiding in plain sight. That something ordinary can suddenly become extraordinary. $1 million coin isn't just found in a vault or hidden in an old collection. Sometimes, it's right there in your pocket. So the next time you get change back from the store or go through your coin jar at home, take a closer look. Check the date. Look for the mint mark. Inspect the details. Because if you're lucky enough to spot one of these rare coins, you might be holding something worth far more than 25 cents. You might be holding history. And you might be holding $1 million opportunity. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more incredible tales of rare coins, valuable collectibles, and treasures hidden in everyday life, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a future episode. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep checking your change, and as always, happy hunting. Let me know if you'd like a version optimized for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or audio podcast narration. I can also add pacing cues, music suggestions, or tips for visual editing. Welcome back to the channel where we dig into the hidden stories of coins, collectibles, and unexpected treasures. Today, we're going to explore one of the most talked about coins among collectors, the 1982 P. Washington quarter. At first glance, it might look like just another old quarter. But what if I told you that a rare version of this coin sold for an unbelievable $1.4 million? That's right. A 25-cent coin, minted in 1982, turned out to be worth more than a luxury home. So what's the story behind it? What makes this coin so rare? And could you possibly have one of these valuable quarters in your possession? Let's find out. To understand why the 1982 P quarter is so important, we need to start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932. It features the iconic profile of George Washington on the front, originally designed by John Flanagan, and an eagle on the reverse. For decades, the Washington quarter remained largely unchanged, becoming a familiar piece of change in nearly every American's pocket. Now fast forward to 1982. This was a very unusual year for the U.S. Mint. Due to budget cuts and rising metal costs, the Mint decided to stop producing uncirculated coin sets for collectors. For the first time in decades, there were no official mint sets sold to the public. That alone makes coins from 1982 a little harder to find in pristine condition, but that's just the beginning. There's something much more significant going on with the 1982 P. Washington quarter. The P Mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In that year, the Mint switched from using coin blanks made of 90% silver and 10% copper to a copper-nickel clad composition. While that transition had already started years earlier, it was still causing inconsistency in planchets, the blank discs used to make coins. Some coins were accidentally struck on the wrong planchets, while others showed weak strikes, missing details, or other minting anomalies. One of the most famous and valuable errors tied to the 1982 P quarter is the missing mint mark, or an unusual die strike that creates faint or completely absent lettering. But the true star of the show, the coin that brought in $1.4 million at auction, had something even rarer. This specific 1982 P quarter was struck on a transitional planchet, possibly intended for a foreign coin or left over from an earlier minting cycle. Not only was it struck on the wrong metal, but it also showed flawless strike quality and a nearly perfect mint state grade. That combination is incredibly rare. In fact, it was so rare that when it was authenticated and graded by professionals, it created a wave of interest in the numismatic world. At auction, with collectors and investors battling it out, the coin eventually sold for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Now imagine that. A coin that probably passed through cash registers, pockets, and vending machines for years suddenly turned into one of the most valuable quarters in U.S. history. So how do you know if your 1982 P quarter is worth something? Let's walk through the signs. First, check the mint mark. It should have a P above the date, but in some rare cases, the mint mark might be missing. That's the first clue you might have something special. Second, weigh the coin. A standard copper-nickel 1982 P quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, it may have been struck on the wrong type of planchet. A kitchen scale won't do. You'll need a precision coin scale for this. Third, look closely at the details. Many 1982 P quarters are weakly struck because of worn dies. But if your coin has strong, sharp details, especially around Washington's hair and the eagle's wings, it could indicate a higher quality strike. That makes it more valuable. Fourth, examine the surface. If the coin has a full, original luster, no signs of wear, and no damage, you may have a mint state coin. These are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of MS-65 or higher can greatly increase value. The $1 million coin was near MS-68, which is extremely hard to find in circulation. And finally, if you think you have something promising, do not clean it. Cleaning a rare coin can ruin its value instantly. Instead, protect it and take it to a certified coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations can authenticate and grade your coin properly. Now let's talk about the broader picture. The reason stories like the 1982 P quarter are so exciting is because they remind us that hidden value can be anywhere. A coin you received in change at a gas station could actually be worth a small fortune. Most people would never know it, which is why coin collecting is part treasure hunt, part history lesson. The 1982 P quarter stands out not just because of its design or age, but because of the unusual circumstances under which it was minted. No uncirculated sets, a transition in materials, quality control issues. All of these created the perfect storm for errors, oddities, and rare varieties to slip into circulation unnoticed. And one of them, hiding in plain sight, ended up changing someone's life forever with a price tag of $1.4 million. So the next time you're going through your pocket change, don't just toss those quarters aside. Take a closer look, especially if they're from 1982. Because the difference between a regular coin and $1 million mistake can come down to the smallest detail. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and valuable collectibles, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap that bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting. Let me know if you'd like a version tailored for short-form video, a podcast-style narration, or formatted for YouTube subtitles. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're into coins, collectibles, and stories about pocket change that turns into a fortune, you're in for a treat today. Because we're diving deep into a coin that might just be sitting in your change jar or tucked away in your drawer, the 1984 D Washington quarter. This isn't just any old quarter. Some rare versions of this coin have sold for tens of thousands, and in one mind-blowing case, up to $1.3 million. That's right, a single quarter, just 25 cents, going for over $1 million. Let's talk about why. First, a quick bit of background. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, it features the profile of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. Over the decades, it's become one of the most collected coins in American history. But not all quarters are created equal. Some carry secrets that can make collectors go wild, like errors, varieties, or extremely rare mintage combinations. And that's exactly where the 1984 D comes in. Now, the 1984 D quarter was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. And while hundreds of millions were made, over 546 million to be exact, there's something truly extraordinary about a few of them. Let's break it down. Most 1984 D quarters are worth face value. That's just 25 cents. Maybe slightly more in uncirculated condition, maybe $1 or $2 for collectors looking for a perfect specimen. But then, there are the outliers, the errors, the anomalies. These are the coins that go for thousands, and yes, one that was sold for $1.3 million. You're probably wondering, what makes that particular coin so special? Let's talk about errors. One of the most valuable types of errors in coin collecting is a double die. This happens during the minting process. When the coin die strikes the planchet, that's the blank piece of metal more than once, but slightly misaligned. The result is a coin with a doubled image, often on the date, the lettering, or even Washington's profile. It's eye-catching, it's rare, and it drives collectors crazy. For the 1984 D. Washington quarter, there are some dramatic examples of doubling on the obverse, especially around the phrase "In God We Trust" and the word "liberty." Some also show what's called a die clash, where the reverse design gets faintly imprinted on the obverse side because of a mechanical mishap at the mint. Combine that with a strong strike, high mint state grading, and eye appeal, and you've got the recipe for a coin that's not just rare, but a true treasure. Now here's the million-dollar part. One particular 1984 D quarter, discovered in almost uncirculated condition, showed multiple major errors, a dramatic double die, a unique off-center strike, and a rare transitional planchet issue, meaning it was mistakenly struck on a planchet mint for another coin, possibly a foreign denomination or a leftover from a previous year. This one-of-a-kind error coin sold at auction for a staggering $1.3 million. Let that sink in. Someone found a 1984 D quarter with the right mix of errors and condition and walked away a millionaire. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors hunting every time they get change at the store or sort through old coins. Now, you might be wondering, how can you tell if your 1984 D quarter is valuable? Here are some quick tips. First, check for doubling. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look closely at the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. Any signs of shadowing or duplicate outlines could mean you've got a double die. Next, examine the coin's edges and overall shape. Is it perfectly round? Or is it off-center? Does it look like it has multiple rims or strange overlaps? That could be a striking error. Then, weigh the coin. A normal 1984 D quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it's heavier or lighter, it may have been struck on the wrong type of metal planchet. And lastly, look at the surface. Is it flawless? Is there a bright luster? Coins that are in near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state or uncirculated, can command much higher prices, especially if they also have errors. So what should you do if you find something that looks promising? First, don't clean it. Seriously, cleaning a coin can reduce its value dramatically. Next, take it to a professional coin grader or reputable coin dealer. You can also submit it to grading services like PCGS or NGC. These are the gold standard in authentication, and a good grade from them can make all the difference in the value of your coin. In the world of coin collecting, surprises happen every day. That's what makes this hobby so exciting. A coin that's been sitting in circulation for decades could be worth a fortune if it has the right mix of rarity, error, and condition. So the next time you get change back at the store, take a closer look. That 1984 D quarter in your hand might not just be lunch money. It might be life-changing money. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss out on stories about rare coins, collectibles, and hidden treasures. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Let me know if you'd like a version with voiceover timing cues, music suggestions, or anything formatted for a teleprompter or podcast. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden stories behind ordinary coins that could be worth extraordinary amounts of rarest coins. Today, we're going to shine a spotlight on the 1995 D. Washington quarter. On the surface, this coin looks like any other quarter you might find in your pocket, in your car, or sitting in a coin jar. But deep beneath that everyday appearance lies a mystery. One rare version of the 1995 D quarter stunned the coin world when it was reportedly valued at an unbelievable $1.5 million. That's right. A coin originally worth just 25 cents, the kind you might use to buy a piece of gum or pay for parking, ended up being worth more than most people's homes. So what's the story behind this astonishing value? What makes this coin special? And how can you tell if you might be holding one of these rare pieces of history in your own hands? Let's dig into the details. First, a little background. The Washington quarter has been a fixture in American coinage since 1932. It was introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington and was designed by artist John Flanagan. The obverse of the coin features a profile of Washington, while the reverse shows an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, a classic symbol of American strength and unity. The coin remained largely unchanged until the launch of the state quarters program in 1999. But before that, in the mid-1990s, the U.S. Mint was still producing the original design. That brings us to the year 1995. Specifically, the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small d mint mark on the coin, produced more than 1.1 billion quarters that year. That's a massive number. Because of this high mintage, most 1995 D quarters are considered common and worth only face value. But as every serious collector knows, it's not about how many were made, it's about how few were made incorrectly. And that's where the story gets interesting. Out of over a billion coins, only a tiny handful had rare errors or anomalies that turned them into collector gold. One of these coins, a 1995 D Washington quarter, stood out so dramatically because of a combination of unusual features. It was not just in pristine, mint state condition, but also featured a remarkable double die error. This means during the minting process, the coin was struck twice by the same die, but misaligned. As a result, the details on the coin, especially in the words Liberty and In God We Trust, appear to be doubled or shadowed. These errors are extremely valuable to collectors because they are so rare and hard to find. But this coin had something even more unique. It was discovered to have been struck on a transitional planchet, possibly a leftover blank from a different denomination or composition. In other words, it wasn't even supposed to be a quarter. The metal content was slightly off, the weight didn't match a typical quarter, and the surface had unusual luster that hinted at a different alloy. Combined with the doubling error and its high mint state grade, this one-of-a-kind coin turned out to be $1 million miracle. When it finally hit the auction block, the buzz in the numismatic community was intense. Collectors, dealers, and investors all knew they were looking at something extraordinary. And when the final bid was placed, the coin sold for an incredible $1.5 million, setting a record for the series and leaving collectors everywhere wondering if they might be the next lucky owner of a hidden treasure. So the big question is, how can you tell if your 1995 D quarter is worth more than pocket change? Here are some tips to help you spot the clues. First, check the mint mark. It should be a small d, located just above the date on the front of the coin. That tells you it was minted in Denver. Next, look very closely at the lettering. You're looking for any signs of doubling. The most common places to see this are in the word Liberty, the motto In God We Trust, and the numbers in the date 1995. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to inspect these areas closely. Now check the weight of the coin. A normal 1995 D quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, it could have been struck on the wrong metal blank, which is a major red flag in the world of valuable errors. Also, inspect the edges and surfaces. Does the coin have full, original luster? Is it free from scratches and wear? If so, it might qualify as mint state. Coins in MS65 or higher condition are rare, and when combined with an error like doubling or a wrong planchet, their value can skyrocket. Finally, if you suspect your coin might be rare, never clean it. Cleaning a coin, even with good intentions, can destroy its value. Instead, put it in a protective holder and have it evaluated by a professional. Trusted grading services like PCGS and NGC can officially grade and authenticate the coin, which is essential if you're thinking of selling or auctioning it. Let's zoom out for a moment. Why do coins like this matter? Why does a small piece of metal suddenly become worth over $1 million? The answer lies in rarity, history, and human fascination. Coins are more than just currency. They are pieces of art, snapshots of a nation's evolution, and tiny time capsules that can travel across decades and generations. When something goes unexpectedly right or wrong during the minting process, it creates something unique, something that collectors will pay top dollar to own. And for the 1995 D Washington quarter, All the stars aligned to make it a legend in the world of rare coins. So don't overlook the change in your pocket. Don't assume every coin is just 25 cents. Because the truth is, one of them might be a piece of American history worth more than you ever imagined. Keep your eyes open, look closely, and remember, treasure isn't always buried. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more incredible stories about rare coins, valuable finds, and the hidden treasures of American currency, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap that bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting. Let me know if you'd like this script customized for TikTok, short-form YouTube videos, or podcast narration. Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the hidden world of rare coins, unexpected treasures, and stories that prove your spare change could be worth a fortune. Rarest coins. Today we're talking about a coin that's got collectors buzzing, dealers searching, and everyday people double-checking their coin jars. We're talking about the 1983 P. Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin looks like any other quarter that's passed through your hands over the years. But one rare version of this 1983 P quarter made headlines when it was sold for an incredible $1.1 million. That's right. A coin that most people would overlook turned out to be worth more than a Lamborghini or a beach house. So what makes the 1983 P quarter so special? What should you be looking for? And could you possibly be holding on to one of the rarest coins in American history without even knowing it? Let's get into it. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was created to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, created by John Flanagan, features the side profile of Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. This design remained unchanged for decades and became one of the most recognizable coins in the United States. Now fast forward to 1983. The P Mint mark on the coin stands for the Philadelphia Mint. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 673 million quarters. That's a huge number, which makes the average 1983 P quarter extremely common. Most of them are only worth face value. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1982 and 1983, the U.S. Mint stopped producing uncirculated mint sets due to budget cuts. That meant the only way to get a 1983 P quarter in top condition was to find one in circulation, untouched and perfectly preserved. Because no special collector sets were made, high-grade examples from this year are very rare. Most circulated heavily, picked up wear, and lost value as collectible coins. But every now and then, something slips through the cracks. One 1983 P quarter, still in mint state condition and carrying a dramatic mint error, caught the attention of collectors. This coin wasn't just well-preserved, it had a striking error known as a double die obverse. This happens when the coin is struck more than once with the same die, but slightly off position. The result is a doubling effect on the lettering and design, especially in areas like the word liberty and the phrase "In God We Trust." On top of that, the coin was struck on a transitional planchet. This means the blank used to make the coin was left over from a different type of coin or even a different year, often made of different metals. This error is extremely rare and adds massive value. Combine a high mint state grade with a double die error and a wrong planchet, and you've got a once-in-a-generation coin. That's exactly what happened with the million-dollar version of the 1983 P quarter. Experts authenticated it, graded it near perfect, and when it hit the auction floor, collectors knew they were looking at something special. When the final hammer dropped, it sold for an unbelievable $1.1 million. A 25-cent coin that turned into a life-changing fortune. So what should you be looking for in your own coins? Start with the mint mark. It should have a small p above the date, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. That's your first clue. Next, inspect the front of the coin closely. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look at the lettering, especially the word liberty and the phrase "In God We Trust." If you see signs of doubling, like a shadowed or repeated outline on the letters, you could be looking at a double die error. Then check the coin's surface and edges. Is the coin unusually shiny or heavy? Does it feel different from other quarters? A transitional planchet could mean it was struck on the wrong metal, and that could be worth thousands by itself. Finally, Look at the overall condition. Coins that are worn or scratched won't reach the same value as mint-state coins. If your 1983 P quarter looks flawless, with sharp details and no signs of wear, it could be extremely valuable. And here's an important tip: never clean a coin. Cleaning it might seem like a way to improve its appearance, but it actually lowers the value dramatically. If you think you've found something rare, store it safely and take it to a professional. Reputable coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify your coin, assign a grade, and even encapsulate it in a secure holder. That certification is often the difference between a few dollars and a life-changing payday. The story of the 1983 P. Washington quarter reminds us why coin collecting is so exciting. It's not just about the money. It's about the history, the mystery, and the chance that something incredible is hiding in plain sight. A coin that's been sitting in a jar, passed through hands for decades, or dropped into a vending machine could be worth more than you ever imagined. So before you spend your spare change, take a closer look. That quarter you almost overlooked might be the rarest one in your collection. It might even be the next $1 million discovery. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another incredible coin discovery. We've got more amazing stories about valuable coins, hidden treasures, and the collectibles that make history come alive. Until next time, keep hunting and stay curious. Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a shorter version for Reels or Shorts, or if you want help adding a voiceover tone or music suggestions.